I have a program where I teach people how to buy their first really high cash flowing short-term rental. And it's broken down into 3 phases. So in this video, I'm going to go through the first step of the first phase that I highly recommend to anyone before you take any other step. But to understand this, you first need to understand that buying an investment property is very similar to buying a car. But for some reason, people struggle to wrap their head around this comparison. Let's take a Jeep, for example. I'm a huge fan of Jeeps. Don't misunderstand. I'm not hating on Jeeps when I talk about this. But if you're like 99% of Americans, then you're probably buying a car to basically drive back and forth to work. Maybe, pick up your kids from school, go to church on Sunday. You're not doing a whole lot of hardcore off-roading. So essentially what a Jeep is a pretty uncomfortable, inefficient, loud SUV compared to many other options specifically for the purpose of commuting. It's probably one of the best off-road vehicles you can buy, but for most people who are buying it based on driving back and forth to work, you're buying this based on the feeling or the emotion that it evokes to be able to drive off-road, to go anywhere, to be an explorer, even though that's not the way you're going to drive this vehicle. I fell into this same trap as a young lad myself at the ripe age of 23. I went out and bought a brand new Ram pickup truck with a Hemi engine in it. Just graduated from the military academy, just got my first job in the Army, so of course I'm going to go out and buy a brand new truck. And then the next thing I did was to soup it up. I lifted it up, put big tires on it, put a roll bar in the back, a chip in the engine exhaust. I mean, this thing was sweet. But I had absolutely no business owning something that expensive, and it did not serve the purpose that I had of driving back and forth to work every day. I actually never took that truck off-road because it was stolen from me a year later when I was stationed at Fort Bliss. But the point is, the truck didn't serve the purpose that I was after. And short-term rentals work the exact same way. It drives me nuts when people put all short-term rentals in the same category and talk about how are short-term rentals doing and how do short-term rentals perform, and generally label them as all the same. That's like saying a Jeep and a Toyota Corolla are the same because they're both vehicles, but they serve 2 very different functions, both in the way you feel and in the utilitarian purpose or the outcome that they provide. The Toyota Corolla might be one of the best vehicles for getting you back and forth to work in the most efficient way possible. It's great fuel economy. It's a small size for parking. There's a lot of advantages to it. It's probably not the vehicle that you're going to post on Instagram in front of and show off to all your friends. Similarly, there's utilitarian properties that can get you to the outcome of financial freedom in the most efficient way possible. Just like the Toyota Corolla gets really great fuel economy, these utilitarian type short-term rentals have really great cash flow. But these also aren't the type of properties probably that you're going to post on Instagram and put up the sexy pictures of and links to your listing because they don't have all the fancy features and the bowling alley and the basement of the cabin and, pools and hot tubs and all these extra features, but they're extremely low cost and extremely high cash flow. So this is the first step that everybody wants to skip because they want to jump right into what property should I buy, what market should I invest in, what type of financing feels right. And they base their decision based on what it seems like everybody else is doing to make a bunch of money. And they're drawn toward, well, these people who have these really fancy properties seem like they're rich, so that must be where all the money is. And that's the dumb approach. That's the one that I took when I bought my dumb truck. And when I first started investing in real estate, I did what felt like it would make me a bunch of money. And I flipped properties for years until realizing how much more efficient it would be to buy these low-cost, high cash-flowing properties that were going to get me to financial freedom in an extremely efficient way. So don't be the guy that needs a vehicle just to drive back and forth to work, and you go out and buy a brand new Jeep with the biggest off-road package that gets like 8 miles a gallon. If you've done something like this as a young lad or ladette in the past, let me know in the comments. I always like hearing about other people's lessons learned over the years, that's what we'll call them, and knowing that I'm not alone in my financial idiocracy at times. Before figuring out the market, the type of financing or putting in offers on deals, get crystal clear on the outcome that you want from your properties. What do you want your properties to provide you in terms of lifestyle? And that will make all the difference in the world when you start taking action and making the many, many decisions that you're going to be required to make as a real estate investor. If you want to see an example of the types of properties that we're doing now, you can check out the link that just popped up at the top of the screen. That takes you to a video that I just recently created that's a case study of our most recent deal, one that's an example of this low cost, high cash flowing, small multi-unit property that cash flows on a monthly basis between $6,000 and $7,000 from this one property. Understanding this concept literally would have saved me 5 years of my life spinning my wheels, doing the wrong deals, doing deals that weren't getting me any closer to the outcome of financial freedom. So hopefully you'll take the time to sit down and do this step. If this was helpful for you, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video.